Getting things just situated here. I hope everyone's having a good Wednesday. Ooh, I'm a little bit at a wonky angle here. Getting everything set up. Running just a little behind today. And I'm on the wrong channel. There we go. All right. Just a little behind today. There we go. Catching up. Live chat. Got my chat going here. Hope you're all having a great week so far. I thought we would make some cards with these stamp of the month, which is these roses. I have some masks on the back from a card that I made for design team, and I thought maybe we'd just play around a little bit with some different cards and see what we come up with. I'm going to grab a A2 card panel here, and let's see, I'm actually going to grab my regular Misty in my stick and stamp mat. And I have my stick and stamp mat with my blending buddy on it, and then I always store the middle piece to the blending buddy right on top. That is the easiest place for me to keep that, and it keeps it clean. I don't really have to have these magnets here, but I don't have a place, so I'm just going to go ahead and stick this. Hi, Mom from cold, damp Minnesota. It's cold and damp here in Iowa too, and the river is high. We're at flood warnings. They're starting to close off some of the streets down by the river. Yeah, it's cold too. All right, so I got my A2 card panel in there. We're just going to make a little cluster here of some of the roses. And I'll stamp those out with this, my Raven Detail ink. My ink pads are, I just re-inked them, so I think I might have over-inked them, so they are a little bit on the juicy side. So I'm trying to be real careful and just kind of put them down, you know, gently. So I was using them the other day, and I was getting really, really, really juicy lines, so go ahead and stamp these down. I think I have a ridge up from something sitting on top. Here we go. Got one more here. I thought we'd just make a couple little clusters. Looks like I need a little bit more right there just to give it a little deeper. And then we're going to clean those off and move them around. And then I think we got the small, medium, large. I think I'll put the large nestle kind of right in there. I think I'll put the medium one right there. And then we've got our small little bud, and we'll put him right here. And let's see here, where did I put my ink pad? There we go. Oh, I see what's catching. That's catching on my lid. So yeah, it's been cold and damp here in Iowa, and it rained off and on all day. You know, after having all that 90s weather last week, and then we got a little bit of snow on Monday, and then it all went away right away. Or snow on Sunday, and then all went away on Monday. But like I said, they've got the warnings up. I live right on the Mississippi River, and they're starting to talk about, sounds like the crest is coming maybe Tuesday. Let's see, I think we'll go this one right here. Stick this down here. I'm going to take the big one off. And, oops, I've got to pick up that little bud. I like these little $5 sets because they're very easy to just make, especially the last month and this month they've been the flower. Last month was the lilies and these were the roses. They can make just the perfect little scenery here. Take this one off. We're going to stamp a couple more buds. I feel like we need a bud right here, and I feel like we need a bud right there. And then we will get doing maybe some light coloring or blending. And wipe that off a little bit and move this around. Let's do it like that. And get a little. My sorority flower is a rose, so I am very partial to roses. They're not necessarily my favorite flower. I like spider mums and Gerber daisies, and I love tulips, but I do have a soft spot for roses too. All right, so we don't have a sentiment yet, but I'm going to go ahead and we're going to start doing some color and ink blending. I'm going to go ahead and wipe off my blending buddy here so I don't wub up my arms. See, like I just did there? Just rubbed it on got a little black ink right there, but we can cut this down a little bit. All right. So, I'm thinking we're just going to do some quick coloring with some, I got my Spectrum Noir markers here. We'll do some green. On the little, there's not a lot of coloring for this because it's just flowers. There's not a lot, there's no leaves, and so not a lot of color. I don't know if I want to do a bunch of different color roses, or I'll just do just a couple colors. So get some green in there and just a little bit of light shading. If you haven't been over to the store lately, there's free shipping going on right now. I think I have to I'll pull it up so I can tell you what the code is. And let me go to the website here. I think it's through, I don't remember if it's through Sunday, so let me double check that for sure. Did I get rid of that? I had this. I had the information here. I apologize. Let's see here. I thought I still had it. Yes. So free shipping is through the 23rd. It has to be a shippable purchase. And you get free shipping with your purchase. You just use the code SPRINGSHIP at checkout and you'll get your shipping for free. And there's no limit. And it's for only orders in the United States. But you have to use the discount code at checkout, okay? Make sure you put it in there, and it has the free shipping appears before you put this on. But you do need to sign out if you're a subscription customer, or it won't work. You have, it has to be on just regular priced items. So, all right, let's get some coloring in. I think we'll just I'm gonna do some red roses, and we're just gonna do some very basic coloring. I'm gonna do a little darker to light. I have just a couple of reds in the olos, so I do need to get a couple of the darker reds. So, and sometimes if I'm not careful, certain markers in particular colors will bleed with any ink, with any of the black ink, and so I'm just very careful to not try to go over those black lines too much, just in case it pulls it up. It doesn't always happen, but it does every once in a while, especially if I've rushed. So this is just regular cardstock for my stash tonight. Usually I use Perfect Blend when I color, but I am out of it right now. I need to order some, and I haven't had a chance to do that. So I've been working hard. We have a new release coming up soon, and I was working hard in this last weekend to get all my projects done so I could get the sample sent in to the store. And I used up most of my alcohol or Perfect Blend paper. Oh, I forgot to color that green on that one. So I'm just adding some dark right at the base where the leaves kind of go, or the petals touch each other. Because that would be where it would be darkest, of course. I think. I'm no expert. I just kind of do my own thing when it comes to coloring and color what I like. And I like not taping my cardstock down because I like to be able to rotate it as I color. And I know my mom's listening, but I have to say that I have to start wearing cheaters, Mom, when I color. They're only, like, I think they're 125s, and I only wear them to blow up my coloring lines so I can see them better, but definitely is helping. I can't look around with the glasses on. They're too strong. I mean, they give me head. I mean, I can't see with them. So a lot of times I wear them as almost like bifocals on the edge of my nose. But the last month or so I've been having to wear them when I color so I can see easier. All right. And then, oh, I guess I did do the lightest color first. Well, that's fine. We'll go over with the darker, and then we'll blend it back out. I didn't realize I did that. Make sure I even, yeah, I did. This is called Lingonberry. There's not a huge difference in the shade, but I'm going to go ahead and just go back over those lines one more time because I thought I was using the darkest first, but I guess I've been lately coloring light to dark. I always start dark to light, but the last couple of weeks I've been doing light to dark, or putting some light in first so that it blends a little better. In my opinion, it blends a little, the blend lines work a little bit better. Especially with really, when you have markers that are really far apart from each other. Like the colors aren't quite close in the same hue, close to hue. I've noticed if you do light to dark that it's a little bit blender. So, yep, there we go. Do a little dark here. We didn't do any of these down here. We're going to cut some of this off, so I'm not going to do a huge blending down here. Just on the inside. And then we'll go ahead and we'll do a little bit of shading out. Like I said, there's not a huge change. So you guys can hear Flat. She's full of energy today because it's been raining. So he's been, I think he's sensing I'm going away with some girlfriends to do a crafty retreat this weekend, and his schedule's changed up a little bit here this week. We've changed a little bit of different, who's been going on the exercising, and we had a birthday in the family this week, so we were gone for that last night for a while. I mean, he was with us, but it was kind of a new location for him. He hasn't been there very often. So he's just been a little out of sorts today. So wanting lots of attention. So tomorrow I'm going to take him for a really long walk in the morning before I go. Try to get him tired out. I don't have to hurry or anything, so we're going to go take our time and get in at least a mile. If I can get him in a little longer, you know, then he'll be nice and tired and rested for the rest of the day. So I think he senses the change in the weather. When we had all that nice weather last week, he spent a lot of time outside, and then, you know, got cold so fast. And I think he was the first day the weather changed. He went outside and he was like, "What's going on?" You could tell he looked at me like, "This isn't what we had." But he likes being outside as much as possible. But he loves the snow. He loves the snow. He loves water. He just wasn't so ready for it to change so fast again. Hi, Jenny. How are you? I'm just coloring up some roses here. I'm using some Spectrum Noir markers and some Olo markers. Just kind of whatever I'm grabbing. Not really planning my colors. That's something I like to try to do, is just grab and go. And we're using the Roses stamp set tonight, just to make a few quick cards. All right. So we've got our first panel almost done. We just need to choose a sentiment and finish it up. So let's pop it off our stick and stamp mat. If you have used a stick and stamp mat before, the best way to do is kind of fold it back on itself and watch it pop up. I will say that depending on the paper you use, if you use a little bit cheaper paper, sometimes it'll stick and tear. So, you know, use a good quality paper. But I like to use a good quality paper when I'm coloring anyway. So we've got that. Let's cut this one. We're going to start getting it ready. So I'm going to cut it down to about 4 inches. I've got to cut off the little spot that I made on the side here. Cut off right about right there. Let's see a little, we're going to do a little more because that's, you can still see where I made that boo-boo on there with the black. And then we'll cut the top down a little bit. Not quite all off the top. I'll cut off some off the bottom too. There we go. So we've got this little panel here. We got to add some bling, right? We'll do that after we get our card finished so it can dry. I think I am going to go ahead and that is a green piece of cardstock. I thought I had black cardstock right here. Layer it on some black, and I'll put them on a card base after. Sometimes it depends on if I'm going to send them to the store for a sample, and I just kind of layer them on some heavy cardstock since they're going to be on display, and that way I can write on the back of what stuff I used for them, and sometimes I put them on a card base. Kind of depends on my purpose for them. I'm going to go ahead and put that here. It was a quiet week at work. It's like I said, a short week for me since I'm taking a couple of days off. And we have a renter that runs part of one of our offices, and it was tax day was yesterday, so she was busy, and then I could tell it was a little quieter around the office today. People were on the road, and it was just me. Oh, somebody's sad. He wants to come in and craft. He's okay. He just wants to craft with Mommy. And I think we're going to go ahead and use the sentiment from the sentiment from the set, which is always on my mind. And I'm just going to stick it down here. Oops. Stick it down here in the corner. Nestle it in right there, I think. Yeah, I like it. Let's nestle it in right there. And I think I am going to go ahead and do it in black ink, if I can figure out where I keep putting my ink pad. And then we'll move on and have some fun with the stamp set and do some other things. So now, like I said at the beginning, I have a very juicy ink pad, so I'm being very careful with my sentiment because I just re-inked them, and I think I over-inked it just a little bit. And so I don't want to push too hard so it's not too squishy. And then we got to add a little bling to this. Now there are a variety of ways you can add bling. You can use a glitter pen, which is a very fun way to do it. You can use the shimmer mist that's watered down. You can use an aqua pigments. I think I am going to paint on some glitter. I think my red glitter glaze is in the other room and I'm not going to grab it, so I'm just going to grab some fallen snow. And we're going to go ahead and grab a tiny little paintbrush here. I kind of have a paintbrush, a couple paintbrushes stuck aside inside my tool drawer that I use just for kind of doing this. And I'm going to grab a little bit of this and we're just going to add a little bit of, dab it here and there, just to add a little shine and shimmer to our flower petals. It will be hard to see till I hold it upright. I'm not going to add it to all, kind of like I'm adding, you know, used to have like stickles or puff paint. Actually, I think I'm going to go ahead and grab some of this right off of there. And then we'll add a little bit. Just here and there, like I said. I dab it ever so lightly to a couple of the petals. And just add some fun shimmer and shine to your card. And I think this is a fun way to add it without having glitter or necessarily a big mess of paste. I think we'll add some to this petal here. Not trying to be too perfect, so if I don't get it in all the corners, it doesn't look odd. You know, just a little bit here and there. Add some to each one of the petals, each one of the flowers, so they all kind of coordinate just to the tip of the buds where you see it. And then I'll see. Yes, Jenny, I do that a lot. I put shimmer mist and put it in water. Yes, and I've put the shimmer mist and I just spray it on my desktop with a little extra water, and I've painted with it. I really like the pearl shimmer mist. I do the same thing with the pearl aqua pigments. It kind of depends on which one, because the pearl aqua pigments is a little bit, I can't think if I'm doing the right one. The pearl is thicker color. The white is thicker color. So it kind of depends on the situation of what I'm using. So yeah, but you can just paint on a little bit of that. I think we need a little bit more on the red one here, on the corner. And here we go. We got our first panel done. Oh, I see, we did 3 on that one too, so we better put 3 on this one. Let's see, let's do this corner here. And it's just a little bit. The thing I like about using the glitter glaze is we have so many fun colors that you can add different colors. You know, so you can grab the purple and, you know, or the blue. You can do the same thing with chroma glazes or the velveteen glazes and just paint on a little bit. So we just got a little bit and we got one little panel done. You could add some bling, but I think I'm just going to leave it the way it is. And we're going to go on to our next panel, which I think we're going to do a mini slim. So we're going to go ahead and grab our Misty. You know, Jenny, I've been on the design team for a little while now, so I have a lot of the colors. I've been trying, to be honest with you, I have some old ones that aren't even available anymore. They're old. I have a whole stash, a whole box ready to go with me for Crafty Retreat this weekend because my goal is to start using some of them up. So we're going to kind of do the same thing here, but we're going to do a different kind of technique with them. So I'm going to go ahead and do some ink or anti-static power tool. Sorry about that. Couldn't think of the word. And grab my embossing ink. And we got to add some color. I think, should we do gold? I think we'll do gold. Gold embossing ink. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp these down. And then I can kind of see them here. I don't know if you guys can see them here. I'm going to add just a little bit more. And we're going to do something very similar. We're going to just spread them out a little bit. I may do the whole panel. I haven't decided yet. I'm going to rotate these around a little bit. I may find some sort of stamp that has like a dot or something in there to fill in. I don't even know what stamp I'm going to use yet. I'm just going to think about it. And go ahead and we'll just rotate some else around and put a big one there. I think we'll do that. We will fill most of the panel in here. And then I'm going to heat emboss this. Remember if I anti-static powder tooled the whole thing. Oh, my stamps got stuck to each other. Well, I didn't even see that. All right, we'll move that like that. Like I said, re-inked my ink pads, so they're pretty juicy. All right, that looks good to start. I tend to be honest with you, Jenny, I tend to mostly use the Alabaster and the Fallen Snow for the glitter glaze more than anything else. And the same thing, there used to be a pearl and now there's an opal chroma glaze. That's my kind of go-to. I'm very much falling in love with the Fairy Dust embossing powder as being very, very much my favorite. And these aren't going to be perfect, I see. I didn't get this one down perfect right here. But I'm going to be okay with that. We'll make sure that some of the others are like more of a distressed look with that. Grab a quick paintbrush here. Got a little extra powder right there. I don't want it. Blow it off a little bit. Come on. There we go. So yeah, this is not perfect right here. These are not perfectly stamped right there. But, oops, we'll make it work. I'm gonna move this off to the side here for a minute. Hopefully I won't spill it on the floor. And then we will grab our heat tool. We gotta decide what color these roses should be. And just heat emboss it. So notice I spilled a bunch of flour. We need to do a little bit more up the top. Like I said, we're going to kind of do the same thing. I'll put the big one right here. Oh, I know, puppy. It's okay. Yeah. Puppy's whining. He misses mom. He wants mommy to come play with him. All right, we're gonna do a little bit more anti-static powder just to be safe. Since I was touching it, we're gonna ink these up. All right, take my cheaters off again. Stick those off to the side. Okay, we've got that. I'm gonna wipe them down just a little bit. And then we'll go ahead and I'm gonna throw this one right here. And we'll throw that one right there. We'll get this one right there. And then we'll heat blend those and we'll get moving. Oops, we didn't pick up our bud. And this set works perfectly with the flower market stamp set that's in the inspiration box. And of course also the spring, smells like spring stamp set that came out last month. We'll stick this guy right here. I'm gonna stick this big guy right here. We're gonna stick the little bud right there. We're gonna almost call this a night for this. Oh, the bud fell off. It's because I've got a lot of ink on my ink pad a lot of ink on my Misty right now. Need to give it a good bath. So they're kind of slippery, especially because like I said, I've re-inked my ink pads this weekend and they are juicy. There we go. Got a couple spots here where it's stuck a little bit, but we'll fix that with a paintbrush. Okay, we'll get our paintbrush in here. Sorry if I'm not talkative, I'm kind of concentrating on my little... I found that if I have a lot of embossing powder that sticks and I don't catch it, the best way to do it is add gold splatter, which we may still do. I think I need a very sharp point here. Let's move this so I don't spill it. I'm going to just clean this out a little bit. This is just a kebab skewer. I've had them in my craft room for a long time, and I found that they're helpful to get into little tight spaces to just kind of scratch off things like this if you need to. That's great. All right. Heat emboss. Puppy doesn't like the sound of my heat cube. There we go. All right, I think we have a couple little holes here and there, so I'm going to go ahead and stick this right dab smack in the middle to kind of hold it. And we'll fill in with the big one right here. I think we'll put the little medium one right here. I think I can get the little one in here. I can. You need to do a major cleanup? Yeah, I had a major cleanup because, you know, the new release, the summer release that's coming that we were working on, and all my projects, I was trying to get way far ahead for my weekend. So I don't have necessarily a major cleanup, but I will because I'm going to be packing my craft supplies tonight to go on my crafty thing. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. My little puppy, he's barking. Can you hear him? Poor Fletch. I've got a lot of ink on that. That's why that one's not sticking. All right. Granny says hi, Fletch. Then I think I'm going to go ahead and stick this here. Where am I going? I am going to near Milwaukee. I don't know the name of the town. It's hard for me to pronounce. I'm meeting up with a couple of girlfriends that I met in the crafty world. And we actually had all signed up for the scrapbook cards in today. That was a couple in March. And we were going to get together and do it live together. And I had a couple of the girls had conflicts. So we decided to wait till April. And one of my friends, oh, that did not match. So we're going to have to put something over that. She works for an accountant. So she was like, can we wait till after tax season? So this is a lady who's opening one of the friends, she has a friend who's opening like a retreat center. And so we're going to rent it tomorrow through Sunday. And I am just going to play. I'm all caught up on assignments for now. So I have, I just realized that I did that wrong. So my plans are just to play with everything I have going with me pretty much hasn't been inked. So it's over by Milwaukee. That's all I mean, that's about as best as I can tell you. Oh, is it? Oh yeah, we'll take some photos, especially as I'm working, because I'm excited to, like I said, play with some stuff I haven't played with before. You know, I mean, some of the things I think are a couple months old, you know, they're almost a year old, and I haven't really got to play with them. So I'll do that, and we always take at least a group photo. Okay, so now what I think I'm going to do is we're going to do some ink blending. Cover up my embossing powder here quick so I don't make a mess. And I'm going to go ahead. I have fallen in love with the foam daubers that Ranger makes versus the flat ones. So I don't know if you've seen these before. Here's the flat ones. And you can see the domed ones. I have fallen in love with these dome ones. I still like my blending brushes, but I like these a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and start with some rosy cheeks. And in my craft room, I have, I took a door off into the dining room before we had the dog, because this is an unheated room. And then we left the door that goes into the living room so that if I was watching something, or if I was doing a live, I could shut the door and not bother Tom. You know, or if he was watching something on TV that I didn't, you know, was too loud or something, you know, all that stuff. Anyway, when we got the dog, I didn't want to put the door back on because it was going to be winter. So I have a sign, like I have a barrier that I screwed into the wall, and it's just high enough that he can peek over, and then he's standing there peeking over. It's hilarious. All right, that was Rosy Cheeks, and now I'm going to add some Prom Queen. Oh, you're okay. He's okay. It's so cute. I'm just going to add a few colors here and there. We're going to cover up that one that I made the mistake on. And then I'm going to wipe this off a little bit because that's a darker color. And I'm going to grab some more of the Rosy Cheeks and just kind of blend those a little bit there, here and there. So we're just making a fun little background for a card here. All right, so we've got that. I will gonna cut this down. This is a 3 1/4 by 6. Was it 6 or 6 1/4? It's about 6 1/4. So we're gonna go ahead and cut this down. I like to have little edges to my stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it down to 3 1/4, to about 3. So cut that side down. And actually I think I'll cut a little more off that one. And then we're gonna cut down just a little bit off the top and off the bottom. Make it to 6. Okay, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to grab another panel, and this is one of my favorite things to do when I'm using embossing powder. Is, yeah, he's being all sweet, and he's a mama's boy. He is a Texas Healer Rat Terrier, or at least that's what they told us he is. They told us he'd be about 25 pounds. Oh, I'm sure he's closer to 40. He's bigger than we expected. He's very high energy, but he's, oh, what? About 7 months, maybe 8 months old. So he's still very much a puppy. So, and he doesn't, I don't usually, you know, he usually can be in my craft room, so. But like I said, it was rainy and cold today, so he really hasn't been outside a lot. It was thundering and lightning. Oh, it was even hailing earlier for a while. So, and he doesn't tend to bark a ton, unless, you know, there's a stranger, you know, like as a warning. He tends to whine a lot. So it's can be, I don't know if I want to say cute, but like in the mornings, he is ready to go for his walk. He sits and whines and whines and whines till we go. All right, so all I did was take some embossing ink and just put it around the edges. And then I'm going to go ahead and put some of the this is gilded, by the way, I didn't say that earlier. I'm just going to heat emboss the edges to make a matching mat. And you could go a second time, which would make it thicker, and not as like textured, but I'm going to go ahead and just do it just the one time. Especially with the mats, if you do it more than once, you'll find that it's a smoother finish. Okay. So we've got that. We've got our gilded. Let's get that matted. So he's black and white, and he definitely has healer in him because he's got polka dots on him in different spots. And yeah, he's actually got like one black toe, and his whiskers are black on one side and white on the other. I think even his nostrils are kind of, so he likes a lot of attention. So, and the second I'm done with my live and I go out in the living room, he'll lay down on the floor and take a nap. And he's still in that puppy stage where in the middle of the night he wants a little attention. And he climbs up into bed so that he can get scratches. And then I have to tell him to go to the floor, and he's usually pretty good about it. So, all right. So there we go. We've got this. Now we got to make sure we cover up that spot that I made an error on. Not sure exactly. It's not the most perfect background panel because we've got some high spots, some low spots, you know, things in there, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be. I think I'm going to actually do it a little. I'm just spritzing some water because the Simon Hurley inks are water reactive. Just to give some more texture to that background. And then get some big I'm going to get some big drops. I don't have a ton of color, so it's not going to be super deep. But I think it will make it kind of fun. And then I think I'm also, for an extra little bit shimmer, we're going to go ahead and we're going to use, actually I want to use the aqua pigment. I'm going to use some gilded aqua pigment. I'm just going to put a little bit on my mat, add a little bit of water, and grab a big old paintbrush here. I'm just going to use this one here. I'm just going to brush it on. And because it's water reactive, it's going to affect it just a little bit, but it's going to give that nice little shimmery shine to the background with the gold. Here we go. So I don't know if you can see that. I actually haven't done that with the gilded before. So we'll do that, and I'm going to just quick wash this off. So we had been talking about getting a dog for a while, and what type of dog, you know, this and that, and then one kind of came up. We were talking about the different types, and this one was very close, so we went to look, and we just, yeah, I can't believe he was just this tiny thing, and now he's this big galoot that's heavy and lovable and sweet. So, all right, we've got this panel. We need a sentiment. I don't want to use the same sentiment as before. Like I said, we had that one spot there. So I don't know if we're going to do this sideways or if we're going to do it up and down. But I have that little spot in the area there. So I think what I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and grab some white paper. And I'm going to go ahead and cut it in half here. This is just some of the same white paper I used before. And we'll do two things. I was making birthday cards most of the week. We're going to go ahead and ink blend this one with the Prom Queen. And I'm going to try to get it nice and heavy, colored. Like I said, I love how these blenders, these dome blenders, you get a nice, even, I mean, look at how smooth that is. And then I'm going to let that dry for just a few minutes, and we're going to go ahead and stamp a bunch of this with the embossing ink. I didn't use any anti-static powder tool because we're going to go ahead and create a mat just like we did before. But we're going to do a circle mat. So I'm just going to do a big space like that. And we'll heat emboss that, and we'll get our sentiment going. Got to think about what our sentiment's going to be. Love heat embossing. Jenny, do you have a dog? I'm also going to hit this with just a little bit of heat to kind of help dry it a little bit. All right, we've got that. And now we need a sentiment. So I'm going to just grab my little bin up here. And I'm going to grab a sentiment from the flower market. We've got Hello Lovely and With Love. I'm thinking maybe we'll do Hello Lovely. We'll get that stamped down. And I'm going to just go full on colors. We're going to use the we're going to go ahead and use the gilded. I'm just going to kind of do it. It doesn't have to be at any specific angle, because it can be at an angle because we're gonna die cut it out. I bent my paper just a little bit, but that's okay because, like I said, we're gonna die cut this out. And treat it heavily with anti-static powder tool just to be safe. Go ahead and stamp it with some, hopefully we don't have a lot of extra sticky, because the Simon inks take a little bit longer to dry, so you know, with heat embossing sometimes you definitely want to hit it with a heat tool. And set this down. All right. So there we go. That actually looks pretty good. We're going to do that, and we'll get our die cut and we'll stick our sentiment on there, and we will be good to go. Last round of heat embossing, guys. Okay. And then I need to grab some circle dies. All right, these are my circle foundation dies. Ooh, dropped a stamp on the floor. I better pick that up so I don't lose it. I need to give my stamps a bath. We're gonna go ahead and cut it out. Let's see, a little bit. I might grab my Hero Arts buttons too. They have a couple that are in between the sizes, and I like this size, but I think that's more what the matte I would like to use. So I'm going to grab my Hero Arts Infinity dies here, and we will line it up. We'll see. It might end up being, they might be the same size. Oh, it is a little bit smaller. Okay, so I've got just the right die for that. Tape that down. The nice thing about using a circle die with your sentiment is that it doesn't matter if you have it straight or not, because your sentiment straight or not, because it's going to be cut out. The biggest thing you want to do is make sure you can cut your whole circle out and get the circle on there. Quick run that through my die cut machine. I do appreciate y'all joining me this evening. I hope you've had some fun watching me do a couple of cards with the stamp of the month. You make sure you sign up for the subscriptions if you want. The stamp of the month is only $5. The stamp plus is $10, where you get the stamp and the die. The inspiration box this month is the Flower Market. And you get the stamps and dies along with paper, conversation clippings, cardstock, all sorts of stuff that go in that. I'm not sure if there was ribbons or sequins this month, but it's so worth it, because the cost of the dies, if you buy the stamps and dies alone, you're going to pay more than you will for just the inspiration box. I'm going to go ahead and do both liquid and tape runner, because I'm going on to heat embossed, so it's kind of a slippery surface. We're going to go ahead and center that up, and this is where we have to make our decision of what we want to do for our card. I think I'm going to go ahead and this is going to be a very simple card, but one that can be added. You could add a flower to if you wanted to. You could add, you know, some die cuts too. You could add some more. But I'm going to go ahead and do this. Yeah, that's what I thought. The pink would be fun to add to the golds, with the golds, because, you know, pinks go good with warm colors. And I got to put this on a card base. I'll do that off screen, but I thought maybe we'd add some bling. And I've got the Jewels button mix here. Hold tilt that down a little bit more, and I think we're going to go with these kind of, well, they're not really gold though. We want more gold though. This is the, I think this is the neutrals. We're going to add just a little bit of bling here. No rhyme or reason to my madness. I'll go ahead and just add a few. Probably add a couple on here. And then we'll just scatter a few around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 9. That works. I try not to second guess my embellishment placement because then I don't like it if I fiddle too much. I just kind of go with it. I know there was somebody on YouTube once I saw that said just throw your, like scatter them on, and where they land is where you should put them, but I'm not quite that bold. I think about it a little bit, but I try not to. The most thing I think about usually is if there's different sizes, using the different, do I want to use all 3 sizes? Do I want to use just a couple sizes? Okay, these are all the same. I think we need just a couple more. We'll put one here and maybe one here. These are pretty much the same size, it looks like, this one. But no, there's a couple big ones and little ones. I tended to grab a bunch of the same size ones though. So we might have to take this one off because we want them, I don't want one weird looking one. We'll add a little bit more glue. And I think we'll call it quit. I'll put it on. I'm going to let it dry a little bit longer before I put it on a card base because I did use a little bit of the extra water with the gilded aqua pigment. Stick those in my to-go box. And there we go. So today we created 2 cards using the Stamp of the Month roses, which I have to clean off because I've got it sitting here. This is what they look like, and it's a subscription product that you can buy. And we've got this card, and then we've got this card. So I appreciate you guys joining me tonight, and have a good evening, good rest of your week. I will see you soon, and don't forget also to, if you want to do the Create Your Own Ending event, to go ahead and sign up. There's limited spots for the in-person event in Pittsburgh. Christopher is teaching, Heather is teaching, Shannon is teaching, Gina is teaching, and I will be teaching there. There are spots for the virtual though, so you can do it from home. Thank you very much. So go ahead and sign up for that under the classes. Especially if you want to go in person, because there are, like I said, limited seats for that. And I don't know right now how many are left, but I know a bunch have sold already. But otherwise, check out the website, the flower sentiments or flower inspiration box, and everything that goes with it. And have a great evening. All right, we'll see you next week. Bye now.